Hey there, and welcome back to the world of OpenFire. Earlier in the year, I had certain goals for this project. I made a list out of all the comments and bugs that the playtesters reported to me. Tons of mishandled inputs, balancing requests, and a lack of intuitive user interface. But a personal offender that I wanted to fix immediately was this crummy 2-day game jam tutorial that I made. Tutorials are meant to be the player's first steps of learning what your game is about. It must explain the game's basic rules and the player's primary goal. Once these two are established, the player should be able to play the game properly. However, my tutorial was an uninteractive slideshow, and that had to be fixed immediately. Should be fine. All I would need to do is... Dialog is a really simple but effective way to present information in a game. So I thought that implementing one for OpenFire would be great, especially for the tutorial. There's a wonderful add-on for Godot called Dialogic that I used in a personal project of mine. However, I didn't want to rely on an add-on for OpenFire, so off I go starting it from scratch. And as it turns out, it wasn't that hard. I wrote a small narrative explaining movement and controls on the battlefield. Then I converted that script into a JSON file. I made a few character sprites and put them into an animated sprite in Godot. Then it was just a matter of feeding the written lines into a dialog box and voila, she's talking. With a bit of extra work, I implemented a choice and branching system, though I don't believe I'll be using this all too often in the game. The true issue lies with the combat scenes. These scenes have a lot of information going back and forth already. Cramming in the dialogue box would be a nightmare, so I decided to go over all of that and created a scene that can handle both the game and the dialogue. I was worried that most of the pre-made levels I made would need to be rewritten, but instead I was able to pass these old levels back down through an export variable and load it without any worry. How can I stop the enter key from both triggering the dialogue system and the character at the same time? The solution was simple. All I needed to do was add extra flag variables to different scenes on whether or not they would currently accept inputs. Luckily, I already implemented the pausing system on the battlefield back when I was implementing cool card mechanics. However, this problem actually became more apparent in the start menu. Before we go there, an important comment that I had was the lack of settings. Audio volume and key mappings were two major concerns, but in an effort to keep the start menu simple, I kept all the extra menus outside the view and just brought them in using an animation player. It was simple to navigate when you're just using a mouse. However, things can easily get lost when using only the keyboard. If I ever wanted to port the game to mobile devices, which I do, I needed to remove any kind of dependency on the mouse. This is where Godot's control neighbors and focus system becomes a lifesaver. Neighbors are where a button would go when selecting any of the arrow keys, while focus is simply the currently selected button. Oh, but I am far from over. We are past the tutorial now. No more debugging lists and quick fixes. I wanted to change the battle system itself. Previously, you were constantly fed cards that you can then keep firing at your opponents. This is much more similar to the style of One Step from Eden. But after making the tutorial, I was craving the old Mega Man Battle Network fighting style. In Mega Man Battle Network, you start the fight with 5 chips. These chips are different attacks that you can send to Mega Man. During the fight, you can use the chips you send and will eventually run out, forcing you to use your Mega Buster. That's what the custom bar here is for. When this bar is full, you can reload Mega Man with a whole new set of cards to use and continue the fight. I absolutely love this system and want to play more of it, so I am gonna make it just so. I made a battle select scene here on the left. When it appears, it presents you with 5 cards from your deck, and you can arrange them in any order. It's important to keep the stage visible during this so that you can plan the order of cards ahead of time. Then I added a reload bar here on the right that fills up when the fight starts. When it's complete, you can reopen the battle select scene. A bit to the side of the bar is the attack preview. I placed all of this to the right side area so that you can keep watch of the opponent's movements while keeping track of when the bar is ready. I feel like I did a lot of work to end up at the same spot, but with these new systems in place, I'm closer to completing OpenFire. It was also a good break from all the mundane encoding work I did for the cards and enemies, which, through all that chaos, still worked. I've still got a lot of cleanup to do, and if you noticed, I've scrapped the background temporarily. Maybe when my summer break rolls around, I'll be able to start focusing on a more complete release. Anyway, that's it for now. I'm the Noontime Dreamer. Have a lovely afternoon, and never stop dreaming.